My name is Nassine Saabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn in the past few hours, as thousands of supporters of President Trump stormed the US Capitol building, venting their anger at the victory of Joe Biden in the presidential election.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
Here's the police opening the gates and letting the protesters in. You think I'm kidding? Watch this.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
Here's the police opening the gates and letting the protesters in. You think I'm kidding? Watch this.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
The cops let them in. The cops let them in. The cops are in here. Here's the police opening the gates and letting the protesters in. You think I'm kidding? Watch this.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
The cops let them in.
Outside the Capitol, the outer ring of security had been breached. The crowds had taken Donald Trump at his word, and they were taking the fight to the heart of American democracy. They were literally banging on the doors of Congress. And then some Trump supporters managed to get inside. They were armed and wandering the Capitol building.
The cops let them in. The cops let them in. The cops are in here taking selfies with them. Doing nothing.
ACAF, 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 ACAF.
What does ACAF mean? I wonder what that means. I'm sure it's obvious and I'm missing it, but I don't know why. I understand why none of the cops are doing anything. Why aren't they cracking people's heads open? Why aren't they pepper spraying them? Why aren't they kicking them?
Let's go check in with Alexis McAdams again. She's been there on the ground as all of this occurred and has talked to a number of witnesses and people who I'm sure, Alexis, are still in a bit of a state of shock.
Yeah, and that includes who we're talking to right now, Blake, who you were inside. We actually talked with him, Shannon, earlier when you were doing special coverage. You were up on the stage, we grabbed you up, and then we all got pushed out by Secret Service. But walk me through what happened. You were really close. You're a delegate for former President Trump, so you were pretty close to that stage. What'd you hear?
Well, I was listening to him. He was talking, and I think he had the slide up on the big screen about how immigration has increased under Biden. And as I was watching him, I heard what I thought were just a noise. I was hoping it was a joke. I didn't know if it was fireworks. I
tried to talk with people who were inside of that rally, Bill. I'm just going to check in with people as we develop here live with this coverage. So you were inside. What exactly did you hear and what did you see?
So we heard something that sounded like a firecracker, and we turned around and...
At first, the noises we heard, it sounded like a firecracker, the little things you throw at the ground, usually around July 4th.
More in the beginning hearing. 5 shots, 6 shots, kind of hard to count them all. Firecrackers, basically, that because of the 4th of July.
It was rather chaotic at that point because half the people were looking because they thought it was fireworks.
Can you please tell us what happened, Joseph?
Yeah, it was the Trump. I was attending the rally. It seemed initially like firecrackers went off.
Well, we were standing on the chairs watching President Trump speak, and I saw him go down, but I also was hearing shots that sounded like fireworks.
And it did.
For those of us that didn't see, it's some people started laughing, some people were confused. It wasn't immediately clear to the crowd that didn't witness what you witnessed, that this was in fact a dangerous and deadly situation.
Oh, it was a dangerous and deadly situation. The problem is it's a large crowd, and when the gunshots went off, I think they were, again, my sense was they were being shot from behind, so they sounded a bit muffled. So it sounded more like a firecracker going off. So I think
Vanessa, where you were when you first heard those shots ring out, what went through your mind and what happened with you and the people around you?
At first, I didn't know if they were firecrackers. There were 6 pops.
Especially those who knew the victims and those who were inside Saturday night and dodged bullets and hid, like Shally, who was literally covered with her dance partner's blood.
We hear like boom, boom, boom. I thought it's a Chinese firework, you understand?
Shooting survivor Hyung Bang came by as well.
Had the sound like a firecracker.
Bang says he had to have shards of a bullet removed from his leg.
认为，但是又接着啪啪啪的时候，我认为是炮声，因为跟鞭炮声一样，又是除夕晚上。
I go to Henry Ramos, who is at Uvalde Memorial Hospital. He has an update for us. That's where a lot of those victims were taken earlier today. Henry.
Yeah, Audrey, I actually just spoke with a grandmother who just walked across the street from the hospital with some good news. I just interviewed her. She told me that her grandson survived. He was shot. She said that he was shot. The bullet kind of hit him right here along the leg area. It didn't hit any bones, and it just kind of went through, is what she said. But she said the way that her grandson, who's a 5th grader at Robb Elementary, described what was happening, he said they were all hiding in his classroom, obviously scared. And he told his grandmother, he said, "Grandma, it sounded like fireworks was going off."
And my husband and I were watching the concert. Jason Aldean had just come on stage, and everybody's excited and yelling and screaming, and we saw something that looked like fireworks. It sounded like fireworks over the side. It was like really weird.
I saw his face when he was going to sing, and he saw we heard the pop, 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 and everybody thought it was fireworks.
And I just heard this gunshot just start raining down, and it was a semi-automatic, and it just was like they sounded like firecrackers, but you could tell it was
Anderson Cooper. It went across the theater, and it hit the other side, and it was smoky, and it was smelling. We all thought that maybe it was a prank or something that went along with the movie. Then the next 2 shots hit the front row. It was almost like it hit the iron and made like it was fireworks. And then the barrage of shots started raining, clanging out.
When he heard the gunshots, Brian, good to see you again, and just remind people of what you saw.
Hey, Rob, I'll do my best. I can't even believe how many people were killed. But so I was sitting in the VIP section, and it was right near the stage, and I heard a popping sound. Thought it was fireworks. I looked up in the sky, didn't see anything.
We were standing there, and it was a gorgeous night, and there was a nice breeze, and that's all I was thinking of. The band was playing great, and all of a sudden I heard this pop, 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 and I looked at my friend, and I said, "I don't know if that's fireworks." It's just, everybody was looking around, and then the music started playing, so we thought, yeah, it was just fireworks.
Describe to me where you were last night and what was going on around you.
So we were right in the middle of the crowd, a few feet away from the stage, maybe, 50 feet away. And all of a sudden, you heard everyone keep saying, it sounded like firecrackers. And, the second I heard the shots, I actually turned to start running, but no one else was. And a lot of people were vaping, and so you saw that smoke and you thought, okay, maybe it's just firecrackers.
Well, we were at center stage, right at the front, just dancing away, having a good time. Jason was playing. And all of a sudden, we heard pop, 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 countless of times. And we all thought it was firecrackers. And then it kept on going, and then he quiet for a bit, and then he fired another 15, 20 rounds, and that's when we realized it was a fully automatic. Sounded like a high-powered rifle, so we just...
They started shooting. Everybody thought it was like fireworks or something at first, and then people just started dropping around us.
Sitting out here on the sidewalk, and all of a sudden there was I thought fireworks, and then I saw a window come out and blast shatter everywhere, and then two.
When we were there, Jason Aldean was performing. He was like 10 minutes in, and we heard what we thought were fireworks, and it looked like smoke from Mandalay Bay. And then he kept performing, and then we heard it again, and they cut the music, and everyone said drop, and everyone.
I mean, at first I just thought it was fireworks, and no one was freaking out or anything, and then all of a sudden you just heard rapid gunfire, and I've never heard anything like that before.
Brianna, you were here for your 21st birthday.
Yes, that's correct.
Tell me a little bit about what you saw, what you heard.
We went back up to the room, and as soon as we reached the room from the concert venue, we just heard constant shootings. At first we thought it was fireworks, but then it was shooting.
Marty, what are you thinking?
Marty. It was tough. I was standing next to Daniel during the concert, and when the shots happened, I thought initially there were fireworks, but then I realized there was no flashes, no bright lights or anything, so I didn't know what it was, and everybody around me fell down, and I kind of started looking around, and I heard somebody say they were shooting, and...
She come in the house, our neighbor, and she said, "Did you see that? Those are real bullets. That's real guns."
She was sitting there with her phone trying to zoom in to try to take pictures there, and she couldn't do it.
And while she was taking pictures, I said, "Did anybody call the cops?" And as soon as she said no, I picked up the phone and dialed, and then she said, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna try and take a picture anymore. I'm calling 911. And even then, I didn't gauge how serious it was until I heard the first shots going off. And even then, we kind of thought, well, it could be somebody blowing off fireworks, but then we heard the rapid fire, and we were like, okay, well, obviously it's not fireworks anymore. Like.
We were just having a barbecue with the family. I had my 5-year-old little girl, and we were sitting there, bathing suits on, and the next thing you know, we heard these thunderous crashes and noises that would sounded just like fireworks. Of course, we didn't think absolutely nothing about it. And my buddy Tim peeked over the fence, and there was the killer that we didn't know at the time. He said, "What's going on, brother?" And the guy said, What the F do you think's going on?" And then he said, "Do you think that we should go in?" He said, "That would be your best bet."
All right, now I'd like to bring in President of the Park District of Highland Park, Terry Grossberg, who was actually at the parade today. Terry, thanks for joining us on the phone. I understand you were in the parade riding in a golf cart. Take us back to the moment where you heard what you heard.
Heard the shooting happen, and at first it sounded like some fireworks maybe had gone off on the ground or in a backpack, and it was a very rhythmic pounding. And then we looked at each other like it was a fireworks. And then when the second...
How you doing? Nice to meet you. Good to see you. So what happened with you?
I was taking pictures for my music magazine. It sounded like firecrackers going.
As the victim got into his car and was leaving the area, Dickinson then fired 5 shots into the back of the victim's car.
A witness telling police it, quote, sounded like firecrackers.
Fireworks, honestly. Fireworks and then like cherry bombs, like big fireworks going on.
Let us check in now with Forbes Riley, who was at the Mandalay Bay Hotel at the time of the shooting. Forbes, good morning to you. What did you see?
We were on the balcony last night taking photos, and like everyone's reported, we thought we were all hearing fireworks.
6-7 Sandy Hook School. Callers indicating she thinks there's someone shooting in the building.
We heard a loud bang. We thought that something fell. Then we heard another. And then we thought that was a gunshot.
Got them in the bathroom.
It's probably 3 feet by 2 feet. It's very small. I picked some of them up and put them on top of the toilet. I put one of my students on top of the toilet dispenser. I really need to we need to stay here right now. We just need to be calm and still and quiet.
What did the teacher do then?
She read us some books and we talked about things and they played little games in there.
And while that was going on, your teacher was reading you books and keeping you calm?
Yeah.
She just kept her calm and told you a story?
She read us the Nutcracker and another book that was about Christmas.